Good day and welcome to this Focus On segment. I'm Dewald Rademeyer. Leaders gathered to discuss the current energy situation at the Africa Energy Week held in Cape Town last week. A ministerial panel discussion emphasized the need for a unified message about energy transition as the demand for cleaner energy is increasing. Joining me now is NJ Ayuk, Executive Chairman of Africa Energy Chamber, to give us more clarity. NJ, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
Now, NJ, what were some of the key or notable conversations that were reflected at the Africa Energy Week?
I think the first big conversation was a recognition that 600 million people in Africa have no access to electricity, 900 million have no access to clean cooking, but also there's a recognition that we also should not be left behind when it comes to a transition. Our energy security is important. And so with that, we started looking at how do we use the most cleanest form of fossil fuels like gas to drive Africa forward with industrialization. Most of the ministers believe that Europe and wealthy countries need to decarbonize immediately. African countries need to industrialize fast, but we got to do that in a sustainable fashion. So there is a big movement right now across Africa that is really looking at saying, how do we manage natural resources, still drill for oil and natural gas, and in some cases coal, but do it sustainably, but also at the same time recognize the role of renewables, green hydrogen, solar, wind, and bringing that into it. So you see an African transition that would go from firewood to natural gas, and that's it. But then we have to also look at capital. How do we get capital to really drive this? How do you really ensure that enabling environment where you create free markets and really ensure that we get better fiscal policies, incentives, getting government to move fast and not delay on projects? I think that there was a big consensus between the industry and the ministers that this needs to move fast. We think the investors will be coming back to Africa with their dollars. They'll be putting it again on a lot of projects. This is a good thing for Africa.
Now, NJ, with the increased call for investment in a greener economy or cleaner energy production, what's the way forward, as this is the right time to keep traction going on these kind of conversations?
Well, we started better. You couldn't have started with a big deal by ArcelorMittal and Sasol. They signed one of the most amazing and transformative deals you're going to see in this continent. That started right here in South Africa, and two companies that are going to drive that. You saw Afreximbank put on millions of dollars and sign multiple deals. Namibia signed, the Namibian NAMCOR signed deals together with Moneda, Technip Energies, that they are all including that. It's not either or, it is both. These sustainable investments are really key. ESG is not just about the environment, but it's also about social and governance. So there's going to be a lot of financing coming in, and a lot of the international partners, they're really looking at that. The energy industry itself recognizes that they are going to be drivers of growth, and they are going to put in that. But we know that, and we recognize that there is a big call for more sustainable operations. And that message was very loud and clear from civil society, from other actors within that, and they are going to use technology to drive that. So on our side, we are pleased with the outcome. We've seen a more balanced conversation going forward. And that is really important because you're going to see jobs, you're going to see opportunities, you're going to see young people coming into the energy sector. And that makes a lot of sense for Africa right now.
Now, I also understand that the State of Africa Energy Report for 2023 was released very recently. What are some of the key findings from this report?
Oh, this one is amazing. You are seeing in 2023, you're going to see big gas movements across Africa. Nigeria, for example, Angola is going to increase its oil and gas production. And it's really going to start moving that path towards energy security. Nigeria is going to increase its oil and gas production. You've seen an uptick from the Petroleum Industry Act in Nigeria, where it is coming right into the game, deals are being signed. There is projections on Senegal next year, maybe fourth quarter, being able to put out the first LNG out of the GTA, multi-billion-dollar project by BP and Cosmos Energy. There is a more enthusiasm in 2023 looking at Mozambique with the ability to start back again. 465 new oil and gas projects are going to start in the continent. Drilling wells that are going to be drilled are almost getting it right up to 1,000 wells that will be drilled across Africa. And again, you're also going to see renewables projects coming in, power projects. It's something really amazing with this report because we're looking at, we've always shied away from power projects as we're seeing a big uptake with hydro, a lot of financing coming in from Afro-Exim Bank and African Development Bank and local African funding sources to get our development partners. But you're still seeing oil is still coming back, it's roaring because of the oil prices right now. Exploration dollars are going right back in. You've seen Cosmos Energy signing new projects. You've seen new PSCs being signed in Namibia and Angola. This is going to be an exciting 2023 for Africa. Yeah, I'm bullish about what Africa is going to see when it comes to the energy markets.
Now, I'm glad you're touching on oil because what I'm going to ask is quite important. The OPEC member states are set to cut oil production. Does this somehow influence some of the key findings?
Absolutely. OPEC's production cuts does influence because now you're seeing what OPEC did. They brought more stability in the market. You're going to see markets going, instead of going more volatile, we're going to see more stable oil markets. Where would it hover around? Markets are going to hover around somewhere between $70, 75 to 75 markets on Brent crude. WTI is going to be a little bit lower out there in the US. But when it comes to the African consumer is going to see a lot more happening around that. These production cuts are also a boost for African producing states because now they will be able to get the windfall dollars to drive up new projects, drive up exploration. But then there is a big shift when it comes around gas. Gas. That's what you're going to see that is really going to reshape with that. I said there's an African right now is going to lead the gas exporting countries forum. It's kind of like the gas OPEC. It's going to pay attention to what's going to happen with gas. Mozambique just joined the gas exporting countries forum. The Equatorial Guinea is going to lead the presidency. The Algerians, an Algerian is the Secretary General. Gas is really going to shift. And if you look at geopolitics with what is going on in Russia, Ukraine, and in the United States, you are seeing how gas is really reshaping that. Africa is going to play that central role in driving those markets. And this is going to be a really exciting moment. But African gas to Europe, African gas to Africa is going to be a game changer. Right here in South Africa, there's already approvals by Total Energies that is looking to seek permits to develop massive gas discoveries right here in South Africa. Namibia, big discoveries. So this is going to be a watershed moment for this continent. And OPEC, there is a reason why the OPEC Secretary General took his time to come to Africa to meet with Africans this year. This is the first time this Secretary General is doing it since he assumed office, and it could only send you a message of what is happening.
Now, to bring the conversation to a close, COP27 is literally around the corner. What conversations are you hoping to come out from that?
Let Africa make its choices at COP27. It is going to be a big moment for our continent to really determine our energy future. What is really important at COP27, which we are pleased from the Chamber perspective, is that Africa would be going to COP27 speaking with one voice. This is something that we've never accomplished. Actually, since independence, it had to take everybody gathered in South Africa to leave from Cape to Cairo, then to Sharm el Sheikh, speaking with one voice. We are going to use fossil fuels, but at the same time, we are going to expand growth of renewables, phase renewables into our energy systems, and then work towards getting to net zero by 2050. That is possible. we understand that we have a responsibility. It is called global warming, not Africa warming, but Africa must not bear the brunt on carrying everybody along. Everybody has to equally participate in making sure that we get to net zero by 2020, and Africa has a role to play. I think that hopeful message from Africa to the world is going to be very important at COP27 in Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt.
Now, I want to go back to the Africa Energy Week last week. You spoke about a few projects that was quite notable. Was there a particular project or particular country that drew the most amount of attention?
Well, you know, I always say Namibians and Nigerians are competing against each other on who should draw much attention. Big contingent out of Nigeria, big out of Namibia, South Africa, Angola, and you saw Equatorial Guinea and the northern African countries. But here's the deal. You saw Nigeria really seeking and moving up its production really high. Nigeria played a big role. The president and chairman of Afro-Exim Bank was the energy person of the year. They never backed away from the energy sector. Dr. Rademeyer is, you know, he's a giant, he's a lion, a true African that really has gone out of his way to drive that. So you saw a big role with the Nigerians playing. South African Minister Gwede Mantashe brought the house down. He really just got everything in reality and brought South Africa's role that is going to play as Africa's most industrialized nation in driving that. Namibia is the new kid of the block. The new kid of the block came. Everybody knew the new kid of the block was there, and nobody left not noticing Namibia. It's like, I like those guys. They're excited, and it was a good feeling.
Oh, that's good to know. Definitely countries to keep an eye out in the future. NJ, that's where we're going to have to leave the conversation for today. I want to thank my guest, NJ Ayuk, Executive Chairman of Africa Energy Chamber, for joining us. Until next time, goodbye.